Right. So, what I was thinking is we're going to start a game. We're going to play as Japanese. I was playing as Turkish before. Play as Japanese. Now I've got mods loaded in at the moment. We will load a map in. Load a game, sorry. It'll be a shattered world. So I've quite enjoyed doing this recently. Instead of playing the normal World War II map, we'll play the likes of Africa, America, all the Asian peninsula, all decolonized. So basically, you have all the African nations. They're really weak at the start. They do eventually get a few units and that. Um, all the Russian USSR is broken up as well. Um, the best country in the world is back where it should be, united and independent. Um, um, Canada is separate, although it's still in the Allies. It's separate from the Commonwealth, and the same for India, South Africa, Australia, and that. New Zealand is a part of the Kingdom of Polynesia, which basically unites all these islands under one kingdom. Japan doesn't have its empire; it's lost Korea and all that. It's pretty much the same game. There's nothing else changed. I've got two mods installed. I've got one which allows countries to build on allied territory, so that if I was allied with, say, China, and I knew that they were going to get navally invaded later in the war, we could build forts on their country. Um, I've also got one called No Justification, which means that essentially we can justify wars in one day whenever we want. The only reason I've done that is because um, if you play South Africa and you want to take over the African continent, um, you basically have to. It takes, with it broken up as a shattered start, it takes almost 4 or 5 years to take the whole African continent, and then you've got to change to fascism and everything like that, and it just really slows the game down. Now with the new garrison mechanic, if I would say it's Japan, I can't just go and take the whole of China because I need to garrison it and make sure it doesn't rebel. So it's got limitations. You can't just justify and take over the whole world unless you've got enough manpower and enough guns. So that's what we're going to do. That's just the two mods that we're running with. The Shattered World start. Other than that, all the countries are basically exactly the same. They've all got the same units in startup, which is unfortunate because it would be interesting to see if the units were split between the nations. Say Japan gave some of its ships to Korea. Um, the main one that I'm thinking about is when you do the shattered start. Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland start with no units. The same with India; they start with nothing, and it's quite difficult. As if you do play as them, you have to build up, and it takes years and years and years to build up. Anyway, we will start off with Japan. What we'll do is we will start going through our research. We'll just do the standard research in electrical engineering and production. We will also research the construction as well. And because we're probably going to go to war pretty rapidly, we'll start getting some improved weapons. Because we're probably going to retake our empire of Korea and Qing China pretty quickly. And then China as well. We'll want to build civilian factories. We'll just start off just by building everywhere, all we can, even though we'll not get through that list in the time that I want. We will just have it there for now. Military factories. I used to play extremely infantry heavy and just build as much infantry equipment, just all out. But the last couple of playthroughs, what I've been doing is, instead of doing that, I've been trying to basically broaden the range of my units. So I've got my infantry equipment, got my support equipment, got my artillery. I also want to get some armoured cars on the go, because armoured cars are good for garrison, garrisoning, especially if you've got the production to do it. So at least just get one factory on them. We'll get one factory on motorized as well. And then I want to get some of the fighters too. I want to keep my fighters, just my ground-based fighters, but I'm considering, even though they cost a little bit more, just building carrier planes. We'll stick with that then now. We'll build some close air support. Have a good range of aircraft. Build some close air support. We'll build some naval bombers, handy as Japan. We'll build some interwar bombers, and we'll build some transports as well. Just get little banks of this. Like I say, like before, I would have probably never built any of this, and I'd have probably just built infantry equipment and fighters to keep the air superiority. But I've sort of changed the way I play, just to mix it up and make it a little bit different. We will buy our aluminium from the Netherlands and our rubber from Brazil, because they're both countries that I don't mind beefing up with their civilian factories. And we'll go onto our focus tree. I can never remember for the Japanese which one I want to do. We will want to do either this one or this one. Now, I think we will go down this focus tree, which allows us to go through down all the Marco Polo bridge incidents. So that's all the historical side. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll go down sort of the historical route, gain a bit of stability, even though we're massively stable anyway. And assigned divisions, we'll just put them all into one army for just now, under one army group. We'll sort that out in a second, and we'll take all our navy. This is just the way I like doing it. Take all our navy, send it to Hiroshima, group it together, and then we'll make our own task forces. What a mess. Make our own task forces after that. Do the same with aircraft, even the ones on the carriers. We'll just completely get rid of every air section that we own, and we'll rebuild our own air sections to the way we like. Disband, yes. I will try and play most of this game sort of in the medium speeds. Won't go too slow, won't go too fast. Almost completely drained all our fuel just by moving our fleets about. So we'll group them together. That just gives us one fleet with everybody in it. Brilliant. And sort out some of our army. I'll take all our mobile divisions and I'll put them in another army. Those guys. So we'll put all the mobile divisions in one army. We'll put all our garrison divisions. Put all our garrison divisions. If I can get them. A lot of them into the other one, and then we'll go to our division template. And unfortunately, I didn't speak Japanese. I will I'll be staying fascist through this code. just I'll basically go down pretty much the historical Japanese route, and go like that. Trade division. Rename them kiddies. They've got loads of infantry in the Japanese divisions to start off with. We'll change this to an armoured. Armoured division. Keeps me right, and it allows me to understand what I'm creating better. When I'm playing as the Germans, I'll use the German names. I understand them a little bit more. Rename the armies better as well. The army's German names as well, but as a Japanese, I just didn't understand it. Got hundreds of motorized as well in their motorized divisions. The Marines, we'll be using these guys a lot. And their garrison divisions. Call that a brigade. Hopefully I spelled all that right. Bump up the priorities. We'll put upgrades to low, operations to high, garrisons to high. Decisions. We will abandon the naval treaties. Probably piss everybody off, but we'll just do it. We'll try and build the biggest boats possible. Speaking about building boats, we will go into this. We will continue to build that Congo. We'll continue to build that. We'll get rid of this guy. Rid of this guy. Rid of this guy. We can finish off those destroyers, but we'll only do one of them. Same with them. Same with them. Almost finished those submarines, so we'll just keep them going. And then we'll build some convoys. We've got quite a lot of convoys just now, but I like just building them out through the whole game. I think we'll also start building a... What's this? Aircraft carrier. How many planes can this hold? 60 deck size. That's a decent sized deck size. What's one of our converted? Only 40. I think we will build a couple of carriers in tandem. We don't have enough dockyards to do it yet, but we will eventually. Also change all of these to just put them there. And Tohoku. That way when new ships pop up, we'll be able to see where they are. I could just put them into a reserve fleet and let them automatically do their thing, but this is what we'll do, I think. Turn that speed just a little bit just for just now while I'm setting up. There we go. Right, so that is the naval production setup. We will sort out our navy in a bit. We'll put a leader in charge of this army group. We will put Stache Tariat. What was that? Hisachi Teriuchi? Something like that. We'll put him in charge of that. We'll make it red for the first army group. Just rename it the first. We'll then have our first army under that. Just put it there, make them red as well. And we'll put he's an infantry expert, so we'll put Tanaka in charge of them. We'll also take that Marine Brigade out and we'll make their own Marine Army. Also add these guys in, and these will be our almost like our shock troops under the command of who are we going to put in? Nishio? We'll put him in command of those guys. Just keep them brown, and we'll make them first mobile army. Cool. Then we will have our garrison units, who will just keep in the same army just now, but we'll probably put them in a separate army group. These guys will be just basically looking after all our ports and defending the homeland islands. We'll put Takeshi Saki in. Had a next door neighbor called Takeshi at one point. There we go. And then we'll have our first Marine Army. Small at the moment, but we will expand that a lot. And we will put I think we're going to put a samurai in charge of these guys. Or Imamaru. He's actually... Who do we go with? He's got the commando. I think we'll put Imamaru on them with the anchor. Blue. First Marine Army. Cool. So that is our army set up. We will then why are we not getting our aluminium yet? Because the Netherlands isn't sending any. What we'll do is we'll take it from Occitania, which is actually the southern part of France, because we're playing with the Shattered World. We'll take it from them. And we'll take our rubber still from Brazil. And we'll take our steel from Bonnie, Scotland. If that ever arrived. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, plans. What we're going to do. Our first focus is on retaking Qing China, Korea, and Mengugu. For ourselves, we'll expand the Japanese Empire. What we'll probably do is we'll probably expand our empire through China, the Polynesian Empire, which is the Pacific Islands in New Zealand, and Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. Take this area for Japan. If we need allies, we may go to the Axis, but we'll probably just let them do their thing. Because this isn't on historical star either, all these countries will do whatever they want. So this could be a riot. Who knows how this is going to end up. But it should be interesting. It should be quite enjoyable, actually. So, first of all, we want to prepare for an invasion into Korea. Now, because I have the instant justify war goal on, what is it? How long does it take? 200 days. We've got instant war on, so we'll use instant war because let's face it, Korea, we have claims on their territory. Japan doesn't need to justify a war. They'll just do it if they see fit. They'll send a guy over, he'll go over and say, look, we'll declare war on you and we'll invade you. So that's how it's going to go. It's going to increase world tension, but that's what we're going to do. So, first of all, we need to start creating task forces. I'm thinking about creating maybe We'll put, what we'll do is we'll actually split up. Put our carriers to Nagasaki. Now, I'm not an expert on the naval stuff, hence why I'm playing a playthrough like this. Create a new task force of the battleships, which we have 6 of. Put to Osaka. Split them up a bit. Actually, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Not really, actually. Not really. Come back. Free dockyards, though. We'll put more of them into our aircraft carriers. Build a bigger carrier fleet. So if we do have to fight against the Americans, we'll have more of them. Now, about the Americans, we could do a shock attack. Just take over the Polynesian Empire and then just try and invade America. That'd be interesting, seeing as they're crippled by the Depression right now. I think we'll leave that. Might do that in another playthrough of Japan. Merge. Right, so let's create a carrier task fleet. We'll take the Akagi, the Kaga, 2 of them. I'll leave the battleships. We'll do a battleship task force by themselves. Put the Haruna battle cruiser, Kirishima, in with them. Well, so that's their battle cruisers. We'll take 2 armored cruisers, the Wate and the Tago. We're also taking a few light cruisers, the Harido, Jientsu, Kineo, Kiso. How many is that? 4. Take 5 in. Kitakumi. And then we'll take a whole bunch of destroyers. Just take 20. So that's a decent sized task force. And we'll set them off of Nagasaki at the moment. So they will be our, essentially, when we invade, won't so much matter with Korea, but they will be our sort of task force that patrols the seas around it. But I'll want a task force that will follow the landing parties in, and what I'm going to do is basically put massive bombardment ships for that. So we've completed that, and we will go on to which one? We'll guide the Zabatsus, or whatever they're called. Guide them, gives us a bit more stuff, civilian factories and that. Yeah, so I want to create another task force for bombarding the shoreline. So I'm wanting battleships, heavy cruisers, battle cruisers, that sort of stuff. So put the Fuso in, if it will. There we go. The Fuso. We'll also put, oh, did we? What did we put in there? We didn't put the Fuso. Anyway, Fuso's going in. So 2 battleships. We'll put the Congo in. Izumo, Kako. So that is a battle cruiser, 2 armored cruisers. We'll put a load of light cruisers in, maybe 5. And again, hundreds of destroyers. Again, about 20 or 25. And that task force will be our basically naval invasion escort. We'll put them to Osaka just now. And that'll be the only 2 task force we'll make at the moment. I'll add air wings to the Akagi and Kaga. We've got 60 planes, so I'll put maybe put maybe 30 fighters. We'll put 30 fighters into her. 20 close air support dive bombers. And we will put in 10 naval bombers. We might change that setup as if we start attacking a nation by sea like the Americans or something like that, but for just now they will be mainly land-based attack craft. And we'll do the same for the Kaga, just the same sort of setup. 30 fighters for air superiority. Them 20 for close air support, and 10 naval bombers. Okay, so all three of those guys, don't set them to don't come home, because if they do get damaged, I would like them to at least try and get home. Right, so that's that setup. We've also got air wings that we can set up which will be in range of Korea, so we will put 50 fighters, squadron of 50 fighters, a squadron of 100 close air support, and another squadron of interwar bombers. Make them 100 as well, even though we don't even have 100. We've also got naval bombers, which we're making at the moment. They're not going to have a navy, but we'll create a squadron of 50 of them as well. So they'll all build up and deploy. And we'll set their orders when we come to it. So we are short on resources again, which we'll take for Indonesia. We will be invading them soon, so I don't mind giving them a little bit extra, more steel from Glasgow. And now we'll just need to create our orders for an invasion. What we'll do is we'll set up, where's our garrison? Our garrison army, we will set up a blanket garrison of the mainland Japan and a couple of islands that we have, so that we will protect them, and we'll just tell them to protect the ports, which means they'll only need 9 divisions, so we'll have a couple of divisions at each port, which basically will make us quite impervious to naval invasions. We will do a naval invasion order out of, do we think, Hiroshima, maybe? From Hiroshima into Busan. So our one marine division will do that, and then we will tell our first army also to do a naval invasion, which I've noticed that they've changed, because you used to only be able to do one naval invasion out of a port, but you can now do multiple, which makes a lot more sense. And we'll put 9 divisions out of the first army into that. So we'll basically come in either side of Busan. Marines will come into Busan and we'll surround it and take it. Now, I don't actually think from our intelligence, which we need to start building scout planes, they've only got 1 division. So I'm probably over planning this invasion, but hey ho. We will prioritize steel for probably prioritize naval aircraft construction. What we might do is we might just make naval aircraft. They cost a little bit more in production, but I think their ranges hurt a little bit as well, but we'll just, depends, we'll see. So that'll take 63 days to plan. To make that quicker though, what I'll do is I'll put a naval invasion order just for the same invasion, and we'll split 4 of those units into, if it will let me, into that invasion order, please. Right, please. No, you don't want to? You don't want to? I know you'll do it. I know you will do it. It's because I only have 10, so I'll need to take them off the order first. Unassigned divisions, there we go. And then it'll let me assign them. Finicky as anything, but never heed. So that's that. Done. Naval treaties are about to run out, that's fine. We're not going to conform to any treaties from the Europe. Why should we? We will build as many super battleships as we possibly can. Run everybody on the naval aspect of things. So that went from 63 days down to 28 days, just because I split up 2 forces into 2 orders. We will then start doing sorties over Korea. We want air superiority, close air support, interception, no. Strategic bombing, we'll need air, yeah, just do the whole lot, basically. And they don't have a navy, so I'll not send our naval bombers out. We will start importing oil from the US. That will stop right now. Import it from Netherlands and Colombia. And then we will happy with all that. Happy with that. We're importing fuel. Let's see how much fuel our carrier fleet will use if we send them out to patrol with an admiral. Yamamoto. I'm also going to create 2 task forces of just destroyers. We'll do submarines later on when we actually are getting attacked. We may make these automatically fill with units, but we won't just now. Another task force of 15 destroyers. How many have they got? 34. There we go. So we have 2 more of them. Select them, not them. And we'll set them to patrol the seas. Same seas. So we'll have complete coverage. Because they patrol in their task forces. So if you want to cover 3 provinces, you need 3 task forces. Whereas before, they used to split their task forces over it, and then if they found somebody, they would try and rush the units to it was a strange way, but that's how it works now, as far as I understand it. Put more docks onto those aircraft carriers. We'll try and get them out as fast as possible. Unfortunately, we can't get any more steel from Scotland, so we will take it from Australia. Our naval invasion slowly getting there. The Marines already are ready to go. World tension's going up because Germany's remilitarized the Rhineland, and Ethiopia has actually survived because they're no longer at war with Italy. So we are losing 17,000 fuel a day, and we are gaining 1,000 fuel. Yeah, so we're hemorrhaging fuel. So at the moment, we will just tell our navy to chill the fuck out. They'll all go back to port, save us a little bit of fuel, let us gain fuel until we do our invasion, which will be ready in 15 days, something like that. 16. Speed the time up a wee bit. Like I say, this is an overly thought out invasion of a country that only probably has one unit, but it's enjoyable. We'll keep our motorized units in reserve. They will basically just use them when we come to take China. They have a lot more units and a lot more oomph to fight us back with. How are we doing on logistics? Everything's in the green apart from rifles. We have 14 out of 14 factories getting used. We'll take rifles up to there. Actually, we'll take double the rifles and we'll take them there. Once we start getting military factories, that's what we'll be doing with them. Because we will need a lot of them. Once we start taking China and that, our garrisons will need a lot of rifles. It's probably one of the first things we're going to research as well on the support companies is military police, because they're vital for the garrisons, bringing the cost of your garrison units down. If you don't have military police, you can have like 20 garrison in a country and stuff like that, garrison divisions, depending on their suppression values. So coming up to invasion, and we will justify our war on Korea. We'll just do instant war, which is the mod. I'll have certain rules in place, like we won't just one day justify war in the United States. We'll do a proper justification for them and Russia, all the major countries. But stuff like Korea, which, let's face it, Europe's not going to have much choice in the matter. We'll just do one day wars on them. Declare war, instant war. Boom, away we go. Set our navy out to patrol. Slow it down. All our air force are in the skies, bombing, doing their thing. And we will launch the naval invasion at 1 o'clock in the morning on the 31st of April, I think it will be. If there is a 31st of April. Might be. First of May, sorry. And the naval invasion begins. That's their only unit, so it looks like we're gonna walk straight into Busan. Should be a walk in the park. Let's see how many men we will lose in this war. They have a manpower fielded of 18,000 men, and we've got 404. So it's like shooting fish in a barrel, but that'll get more difficult. And these are the ground that we'll have to take. Our Marines are already landed. First Army's here. Assign the whole First Army there, and we'll do. I've stopped using. I've stopped using offensive lines because I've found that they're so unpredictable with the way they move. If your army hits like a lake or something like that, the offensive line doesn't move around it properly. So I've just stopped using them completely and just started using the spearheads, keeping them with that. But that's our army pushing up. We're getting attacked by the Koreans. We'll jump into that battle and see how that's going. We have our close air support. Actually, wait a second. of our close air support, 6 to 8 planes in the sky, bombing them. We have massive defense values, and yeah, it's like they've not got much of a hope, unfortunately. Poor Koreans. We've just researched the new Type 3 heavy machine gun in the mortar and basic machine tools. We will go on to research military police and concentrated industry we'll go for. We might be bombed later on, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to try and keep Japan from being bombed. Get rid of that. Unfulfilled, get rid of that. I know. No template, I know. And I'm not training divisions. Again. So we'll just push this on manually. Tell them a couple of units and our Marine Brigade to take the vital provinces. We've lost nobody and killed 775 of their men. That's quite good odds, I think. We're assaulting them here with major air superiority. They actually do have good defense values when they're stopped. But we lost 26 men, they lost 960. So, a victory, I think. We'll now creep up the Korean peninsula. And we'll take Seoul, and Pyongyang. What am I looking for? That. Still got plenty of war support. Troops just marched into Seoul. And they'll continue on to Pyongyang. Once Pyongyang falls, that's them pretty much capitulated. Unfortunately, after that, I'll then have to call it a day because I've got to go off and send some emails. But the VOD will be uploaded so you can watch through it, and then we'll continue this another day. Koreans are still fighting back, although the whole First Army has just pretty much landed. And then the next day we'll be taking Qing China, Mengugu, and doing our full-scale invasion into China, Vietnam, and all that. We'll probably try and take the two huge population centres, China and India, and hopefully keep them under guard, and hopefully that'll give us a lot of oh, that changed a lot of war economy. That'll be brilliant. 2 decisions. Test the Russians. We'll not do that just now. Leave the Russian bear alone for a while. England revisits colonial policy. Don't think that'll go down well. And Pyongyang's fallen. Still got 34% war score, so we'll still need to take a few of their provinces. All their major provinces have fallen, so it should just be a case of taking the little ones. Slowly but surely marching in. All our zeros. Do we actually have zeros? No, we haven't got the zero yet. It's just biplanes that we've got at the moment. They're down the war score yet. Almost capitulated. 26%. We've only lost 26 men to 1,630. That's pretty brutal. Like, our aircraft, I think, is our bombers still in range? Yeah, they are. Our close air support and our interwar bombers are still in range of that unit. And they've capitulated. 520 20 rifles for cause and 5,000 fuel. Great news. We will just take it for the Japanese Empire. End turn. Done. So now you'll see we'll put the first army onto the border. Put the Marines over into Pyongyang now. We'll see if we go into occupied territory now. We'll have them as a territory here. We'll keep them as a civilian oversight, so we actually gain compliance with them. Hopefully, the longer longer the game goes on, the more they'll contribute to our empire. At the moment, we've got cavalry divisions looking after them, but we'll eventually try and make this garrison brigade the most efficient brigade. Well, actually, no, we'll probably do it with our cavalry. Actually, make them the most efficient brigade at quelling instability and resistance against the glorious Japanese Empire. But anyway, I'm going to need to call that a day just now. We will revisit this at a later date. But thank you for watching, and I will